Hey folks, we had a little power break, so don't stress you out. We got you covered. We're gonna continue right on.
Yes.
Remember now, we under the tree, and right inside this, I can pick. This is called sugar apple. So we still under the tree, where the fruits are just pretty. You wouldn't believe it. We got breadfruit, sugar apple. We got a plum, mango tree. That's a pear tree and this banana tree behind it. We got it all. We still under the tree. Don't worry, we back.
Yes. And so we were looking at the school environment. We know here in the Bahamas that there was a time when there was this fear of children being recruited by persons who engage in same-sex relationships. And then there are certain schools that are labeled both in the public and the private sector as schools where homosexual relationships prevail. Okay? So what do we as parents need to do? We need to be able to have healthy relationships, healthy conversations about same-sex relationships. And as we would have learned from other areas of life, never knock something that you do not want your children to engage in, because curiosity is going to take them directly in the direction that you're trying to steer them away from. And now Tony wants to talk about those ones who go abroad to school.
All right. You see what happened? You send your kid to college. When you send your kid to college, your kid is one of the what do you call, the humblest, loving, caring child, and goes off to school. And then you go back to the airport to pick him up one day, all the hair cut off the child's head. And you're trying to wonder, well, what happened? And the child laughing at you at the airport, and you you stress out. You like, um, um, daddy. The husband saying, "Daddy, my child," because he's embarrassed. It's because now people are gonna know your child got this haircut and the child wearing pants below, the girl wearing the pants below. Let me explain to you, parent. Let me tell you, and then you start going in the bedroom and you're having this big argument over what happened to the child, and the husband he mad and he, oh, get out of my house. And let me help you here, parents. Settle down, settle down. You can't change a person's mind when their mind made up. This is your child. Your child come back home and tell you they changed their life. They're now living this alternative lifestyle. It's cheaper to love that child and show that child love. It ain't that you have broken down home and you didn't know where you fail, and you ain't fail nothing. Everybody has their own mind to make the decision. Some might be steered into the homosexual lifestyle, but most cases, if you were grounded and she were grounded, conscience is a bug up. So all you have to do is love your child, show your child,
And wait it out.
your child in every area that she's yours. She come from you. You love her, and you show her that that's not the style or whatever you want to call it to live. And eventually, if you be patient enough, God will grant you what you want. But if you're gonna be this, oh, child, I can kill you because no, don't come in my house. And what are you doing? Think what you're doing. You're running your child away from you. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. Because the person out there who love her, mind you, that's a fake love, Because think most homosexuals don't last long. Gay, lesbian, they move around like plague. They leave this one today, leave that one tomorrow. because it's the lifestyle is not grounded by anything. Sorry, go
Um,
ahead.
that is a view for sure.
Go ahead.
In many instances, it is ill-disciplined sexual behavior, but there are exceptions. There are same-sex relationships that last, that are built on love, and the the the, the historical documentation regarding same-sex relationship show that, as is the case in heterosexual relationships, many of those relationships are grounded in real love. Now, the literature also show
Real
that
sex, not love.
experimentation
Good.
occur. And I remember when I was first exposed to same sex as a legitimate relationship equal to that of the heterosexual, it was at a university course called Human Sexuality. And when they presented the results of a survey that showed how many persons, one, ever had homosexual thoughts, not actually engaged in it, but thought about what it would be like to be in a same sex or even to test it out. They showed a 50 to 75% positive response from both genders, male and female, when they asked how many have actually um, kind of, gave it even deeper thoughts and envisioned themselves. The results was a little lower, but it was still at least 50% of individuals. There are circumstances in life, prison, war, um, the army, you name it, right? Where people are pulled together, not to forget one sex schools, all boys, all girls schools. These are conditions. Now, it brings me to this point. Sexuality is innate. It is what we are made of.
Yep.
The same way that we
Yep.
are spiritual beings, we are also sexual
I'm
beings.
telling you.
And there are some of us that are highly sexual.
There you go.
There are some of us that are mid-road sexual, and then there's some of us that have no sexual interest at all.
What do you call the high
They
ones?
would call that, let me say,
Go ahead.
they would call those with no sexual interest abnormal. Is it really abnormal? That is what nature has given you. If you are highly sexual, is that also abnormal and the middle is normal? No.
That's normal. See, that's what I'm saying. You talk about the genetics.
Mhm.
Everybody has different genetics.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So let's bring it down to grassroots time. Don't put it to grassroots time.
And that's why
some of the men.
that's
today,
why even the homosexual now, we have to be careful because
Yeah.
that was dished out to some people, not everyone that is engaging. And I think those
Yeah.
ill-disciplined individuals aren't the ones that actually naturally got that
No.
stuff, man. I
No.
think it's those ones mixed with experimentation,
Experimentation.
drug, alcohol,
Yep.
and a warped sense of reality.
And then, that's why I don't believe in the genes thing. That's me.
Okay.
Okay. Because when you're talking about high sex, you get men who won't go with two women.
2 and 3 and 4.
Yeah, because
And if they can have 4 in one bed,
right. And then you got
greedy.
people who won't have orgy. They go anyway.
Mhm.
Then you see. So what is for me? What has happened is that's why I still stuck on sexuality.
Hetero.
Homosexuality is thought light. That's why that's my opinion, and I could be wrong. I believe
in all cases it's not.
The science, but listen, the science and the coronavirus is lost too. So we could be confused.
We learn, we live
So,
as we learn.
So don't believe in just science.
And let me say, right?
Go ahead.
whilst the term homosexuality was only recently coined somewhere in 1995, right? But the history go back to the 13th and 14th century, where same sex, and then too, exploitation, and it has always been a man's world, because men determine what is and what is not. And I remember I came across the name Aquinas. We have Aquinas College. That's Catholic, right? But the Roman Catholic were among the leaders in denouncing homosexual relationships. Prior to that, you had the Greek, and the Greek actually had a spectrum of from being totally homosexual to being totally heterosexual, and in between, as you come towards the middle now, you have that leverage of moving between the two.
See, when you talk, I want to keep it in the Bahamas. I like to say world, but
but we could keep it in the Bahamas. But what I'm doing is actually showing you it's not unique to the Bahamas. It's not and so even the prejudices and who sets the precedence as to what is right and what is wrong.
King James, sexuality, and King David, and all them.
What about them?
Way back in 18, back in them, they were homosexuals.
David wasn't, but different people were.
Yeah.
I've heard people saying that, they don't accept the Bible. Who will accept a Bible that was translated by a homosexual?
And at one point,
homosexuals have intellect.
But at the intellectual level, that's where the majority of the homosexuals are.
They are the most brilliant.
Yeah, because there's a light. It's a behavior. When they go off to school, they come back with this. See,
some go off to school already. Some go off to school already in that state.
Majority go off to school with an open mind. That's what we call it.
And it is in that open-mindedness
and that's how they get trapped into it.
I don't say you get trapped. That's where they choose.
That's how they get linked.
That's where they make a decision.
Yeah.
Okay? It's similar in every respect.
In the Caribbean.
Until recently.
In the Caribbean, Barbados, Trinidad, homosexual is taking off now. But back in the day, when I was growing up, homosexual in the Caribbean, especially Jamaica, there's a taboo. In the Bahamas, you can use the word gay because you get beat up on the street.
But do you know, though, that in spite of it, and that is why, Tony,
go ahead,
we have so many Bahamian men that are married but are still having same-sex relationships with
underground,
outside. So
what do you call them? You had a name for them.
They say MSM. Men sleeping with other men.
Sleeping with men. MSM. Man sleeping with men. You know, when I say what I say a while ago, I was going on something. I was up to something. And I said that in Jamaica, in the Bahamas, we to beat you up, right? That's what.
Yeah.
That's what was in the open, but behind the scene there was more. Okay, but now let me tell you why. And this is, folks, this is my
humble opinion.
I thought when we started to have the priests coming, the Catholic priests, that's when the homosexuals start. Because that's when they used to come try to teach us basketball and take us in the bus, and we used to laugh about it. We used to say, "Oh, this priest soft." That's the word we used to use. And so I believe that that's where, and I could be wrong, but that's where the homosexual started to take off.
In the Bahamas.
Yeah, when the priests started to come. Now, I know, man, now you Negroes, I know you're going to try to call me up and try to do me in because I say Catholic. I understand. But I'm talking from my experience. So be careful now. Because be careful. I know how you all go.
Okay. Okay. So we know for sure that the church does play a role. I have known of instances, and even in colleges and so forth, right? And oh Lord, but there was a famous homosexual here in the Bahamas
Mm-hmm.
that died a very vicious death.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, there was oh so much discussion about it. And the conclusion was nobody wanted to touch it because it will touch every sector of our society.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the problem. I mean, everyone has an entitlement to their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, God has given us freedom of choice. We can choose to be who we want, what we want, where we want, as long as it does not infringe on
On
the
people
rights
rights, right?
of others,
That's what I
as
don't like about
long
homosexual. The
as
act
it
itself. I'm not your
is,
people, the act.
as long as you are not exploiting the weak, because children do not have the ability to make a judgment about their sexuality for many years. And that is why parents need to be with their ears to the ground. They need to be intimately involved with their children. They need to be able that their children can come and discuss anything with them openly, and even if you have to cringe on the inside and go and pray. But I've heard some terrifying expressions of parents, a child playing with another child. That child is a child. You take the child in and you have a conversation. Labels. We as adults, we place our experiential labels on something that is totally innocent. Get the facts before you impose psychological trauma on your child, taking a soap and rubbing it and sticking your finger up the anus of your child and talking about this what they can feel like, this what they can do to you. No, that is wrong. That is so traumatic. It causes the child to have a phobia. It causes the child to go underground.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
That's what you're talking about.
Men who have sex with other men and are married, perhaps they would have been exposed to a similar experience. The pastor getting up in the church and preaching
Nation.
condemnation.
Condemnation.
That in itself is wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, you can speak about the sins. Is one sin greater than the next? You know the conversation, the joke with the pastor who get up to preach the 10 Commandments, and when he get to thou shalt not commit adultery, because he was preaching on someone stealing his bike. But when he got to the sermon part where it talk about thou shalt not commit adultery, he remembered where he left his bike. So is one sin greater than the other is my question. Now, you have some people who will label you. I know within my family there are relatives that have been labeled homosexual by their uncles, their aunties, um, which brings up another thing. But the thing about it is, do not cast a judgment on an individual because a guy has a little softer nature than you expect him. Don't label that child as being gay or you sissy. That is wrong. We have the most masculine, attractive male that would not turn an eye to look at the sexiest woman in the room because he prefer men. That's his rights.
I still say what I don't like is the Bahamian woman who know their husband gay, who know their husband have man tendency,
Mm-hmm.
and you sit there and watch your sister bring her son to your house, and you leave him home with it, and you know, cause you done come and tell somebody, well, you know, my husband, he look like he little off here. That's the way to use. You don't use. You don't want to wait say off. So people got to read between the line. And then what happens? You know your sister's son is left their home with this man who
Have these
have this
tendencies.
tendency.
or suspect to have these
And
tendencies.
see, that is what I don't like about the homosexual gay agenda. You
You
want
know
to
what?
jump on, you want to jump on big man and do what you want to do and do in the dark, and fine with me.
But Tony, you just raised a interesting
Because I
situation
somebody
of
call me up
neglect.
and I talk.
Neglect.
Yeah.
It is a situation of neglect because if you suspect that your sister's husband has this tendency, why would you leave a young boy in his care or in his environment? Number one, you don't have the facts, so maybe that's why. Or perhaps you're in denial, or perhaps you want to see whether he's going to try something. But why would you subject your child to such trauma? Okay? Um,
You you know, and it's so it's painful. It's painful. And let me share. Let me share. You know, boy, sometimes you just want to call names. You know,
no, you better not
no,
call
I ain't
people
call no
name.
name, but you just want to call the name, and you just want to tell the stories. But let me tell you what is prevalent in the Bahamas today, right? What is prevalent in the Bahamas is this: because woman's supposed to be with woman, and woman's supposed to be soft, and woman could you don't even look at the woman. You knock the man because too big strapping man. Yeah, the sissy do. Right. But do you know in the Bahamas you got a lot of women play with women? Let me tell you. Let me give you a story. It's a joke. It might be a joke, but it's real. You married. You got to cook for your husband. You got to clean for your husband.
Mm-hmm.
You, you got to pick up the children. You do everything for your husband. Husband is king because he paid the bill and you
Yeah,
got to do everything for him. Okay.
that's his rights.
Well, let me give you the joke. Just a joke. So, you a woman, you need another woman to take care of you like how your husband can take care of. Because you think about it. This is real.
You see now, you just open up a
I,
new can of
what you mean?
worms. You know why?
But that's what happened in the Bahamas. It's real. It might be a joke, right? It might be a joke. But think about it. I'm the man. I married to Melanie. Melanie worship me. Melanie gets cook clean. I come home. She wash me,
You're the
put my foot in
king.
it.
You're
You're the
the
king.
king.
Right. So
So
you,
you being taken care of, and I'm being neglected.
yeah,
So I need somebody to take
yeah.
care of
So,
me. So
but
can I get a man rather than a
no, no,
woman?
no, no. Why you? Let me tell you why you can't get a man.
Why?
Because
Because men are selfish.
right. So the woman know how to clean, cook, do everything for you, and she ain't got no problem. She do that for her husband.
So let's see if we could bring
I'm
this
messing
to an
around
end
you.
because
I'm
we're
sorry.
coming close to the end of the second half of our
Show.
show, our
Yeah, this
forum,
is amazing.
and I'm just wondering
Mm.
in terms of how we can best
Mhm.
relate to persons that are exhibiting same sex tendencies.
Mhm.
We know rumors fly through the Bahamas
Yep.
and they are
And
accepted
all rumors is
as
not true.
truth.
All rumors are not true.
They are accepted as truth, and it's damaging to the character of some individuals.
Folks is
Yes,
hot
yes, there are
under the
some
tree.
individuals that are married, both male and female, that have same sex relationship out of their marriages. Children are not stupid. Children pick up on a number of behaviors. It's like in the school, you're teaching them one thing, but you're exhibiting something else. They're more likely to go with what they see than what you tell them. So, how do we now, as parents, as members of the community, seeing children or even adults, say you have see, because you said something about the woman knowing that the man is gay
Mhm.
and she
Woman,
stay in
wives
the
always know.
home
Wives
with
always know.
him. Is something wrong with that?
Well,
Should they not stay in the home and try to work it? Earlier the thought about experimentation and the fact that you mentioned that the parent should love and embrace their children,
Love embrace the
not
children.
push them away, right? Excuse me. How do we strike a balance between our spiritual, religious beliefs and the deviance in lifestyle that is exhibited by our children, our spouse, our relatives, our neighbors? How are we to respond to such individuals? Okay, you're sissy.
Well,
Go do this.
well,
Go get out of my house. What do we do?
yeah. But before I answer that, right? I wanna tell you. I wanna say something about the Haman man.
Go
It's a
ahead.
coming relationship, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I want guys. I want you to listen to me. Listen to me. Me too. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
But like a threesome. I want you two women too. But be careful, because some things you wish for you might get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's becoming very dangerous in the Bahamas. A threesome is, most men have this fantasy, and it's getting very dangerous because when you take this woman home to your house, to your wife, or take your wife somewhere and experiment, she mightn't be your wife soon. So be careful of this,
Why wouldn't she be his wife soon?
because the same woman that you take her to mightn't be clean or mightn't be clean in the mind as you think. Because she might have
Which
the,
one? Which one might
the
have
one
it?
that you take her to.
The one that you take it to about the wife.
The
How
wife,
about the wife being the one
the
suppressing
wife might have it
her
too. The
tendency?
wife might have it, and so it creates a whole new picture in your marriage. And experiment is good. Now let me tell you what my mother tell me. Why are you cranking up?
Go ahead.
Hey.
Go ahead. Let's hear what.
Hey,
Let's
hey,
hear
listen, folks.
what
When I go to speak these
Mrs.
talking,
Williams had to say to
when I go
you.
to speak these people, it crumble. Anyway, folks,
Go ahead. No, no, no. Tell me what you
my mother tell me.
share.
My mother tell me, if you want to experience and have be kinky and do what you want to do and then whatever. If you want to experience bongi, she say you got it in your bedroom. The bed is defiled,
Undefiled.
undefiled.
Yeah.
So
Marriage is honorable,
marriage honorable
and the
and the
bed
bed is
is
undefiled.
undefiled.
So if you want to experience, man, if you want to experience bongi, you got your wife home. Now, my sisters, they reverence. You know, they can call me up and give me Negroes, leave me alone. So, if you have this great desire,
To
you could
find out.
to find out what this all about.
Mm-hmm.
Turn your wife over. That's yours. Experiment there. All right. Now that's an old woman telling me that. So you ain't the bed got everything in it. You and your wife in your bed got everything you could experience right there. You ain't got to go nowhere because all you doing is causing confusion and turning your marriage into hell. And you wouldn't be surprised where that one little happiness end up.
Well, clearly you have just opened a new discussion for another forum, sex in marriage,
I tell you.
because we talked about why men leave their wives, and we didn't really go into any detail about sex.
Yeah, because they don't experiment.
Now we're talking now
You
about
experiment, eh?
same-sex relationship,
You come up.
and you're saying keep it in
The bedroom.
your home, keep
Yeah.
it in your marriage,
Yeah.
explore.
It never could. Listen, if your marriage, we're talking about homosexualness, but if your marriage started getting strange and out of shape, you could just stay right home. Stay right home in the house. Stay right home in the house. And use that bed and experiment. You could go. Now listen to what I'm telling you, folks. You are married. It is what? Covered by God. Eh?
Yeah,
And the bed is what?
undefined.
Okay, so every drawer in your house you could have sex in. Bam! Every drawer. Bam! Go to every drawer. You can use every drawer, every dresser, every bed. You can make that work for you. Be careful of these bringing this one home and trying new things out the door, because it could be detrimental for you. Now we going back. I'm gonna answer the question. The question.
How do we relate to individuals that opt to have same-sex relationships in our homes, in our neighborhood, on our jobs, in the schools, in the church?
Most of you who are in the same sex are very intelligent. Very intelligent. You are the brightest of all. You have the high-paying jobs. You drive the fast cars. You wear the best clothes. So you got bright minds. And once it's a bright mind, has to understand that sexuality is just one part of the relationship. And when you want to experiment, you gotta trust in something. Trust God. Trust belief that something. This is just for a moment. This emotional feeling is for a moment. So please, I will say to them, and I will say to you all, boy, in time, everything in time. Just take time, take your time, go through it, piece by piece, day by day. Don't mind that feeling. That ain't nothing God can do. And God has given you the ability to do. I don't want to preach this. I don't want to sound like preaching.
Okay, so basically, Tony, from a religious perspective, it is documented in the Bible. It is also in the Muslims' Quran that same-sex relationship is a defilement. It is against the principle of God.
It's against the principle of God.
However, as is adultery,
It's a principle against
as
God.
is murder, as is stealing, you have to work out your own salvation in fear and trembling. And so therefore, I, as a straight person, have no right to judge you. I am to embrace you. I am to encourage you. I am to point you to the truth regarding sexuality from a religious perspective.
And the truth.
From a secular perspective, however, sexuality is seen as a preference rather than a moral issue. Okay?
Don't give me the
Gender is irrelevant. What is important, both in the heterosexual and the homosexual domain, is excellence in character. Excellence in character and beauty. So, some persons have ventured out and experimented in same-sex relationship, and they have moved back towards what is socially accepted as norm. Others have ventured out, have discovered that the beauty and excellence in character that I am seeking, I find in someone of the same sex. Let's leave it to God. We all must stand before Him and give account for the deeds done in our own bodies. We can point people to God, but it takes the individual to make that first step.
And as we close it, I'm going to give you the key. The key to the lock. The lock, you know that lock, you all lock a bit, that man and man and woman and woman. That, when you wake up tomorrow morning, you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, I am beautiful and wonderfully made. That's all you gotta say. And the next thing you could say, a man and woman did this. Two man, two women can't do this. That's what it's all about.
What an end, what an end. And so next week we invite you to join us again. We happy that despite the breaking transmission,
Yeah, don't worry about
we were
it.
able to continue.
Yeah.
And we invite you next week when we're going to look at effective parenting in the Bahamas. Do we do it? Do we get it right?
And this show is made to help you anytime. You hit us up. You hit us up. We're not just a Friday. We're every day. We just don't come live. We're every day. So all you have to do is hit us up on
Facebook.com/it's us. Facebook.com/ITSOTT. You will find us there. If you wish to make a comment, please feel free. You're free to share with your friends and family. And of course, you're free to email us at itsart63@gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us, and we certainly enjoyed bringing this
It's hot.
episode to you. It
It's
is
hot.
indeed hot.
And one next week we're gonna deal with who? The parents. You're no good parent, we can deal with you. Next week.
Enjoy your weekend.
Have a good one.